This week on Mr. Super Oz, we go back to something that was pretty popular the first time. It was Comic Court. This time, I'm the judge. G, Mr. Thomas, is going to make the case for tradition, and Josiah is going to make the case for change. And at the end, I, Judge Oz, will determine who won this week's Comic Court. But before we go to the competition, let's talk about why the channel exists. I, Mr. Super Oz, wrote a 68-page graphic novel, Everlasting Survivors. All day long. This is the Jeff Hicks cover. This is the Nick Crook cover. There are limited first printings still available at Etsy.com. As always, there's a link to the first printings in the description below. After the open, it's time for the fight. It's time for Comic Court. It's going to be Mr. Thomas versus Josiah. I'm judging. Let's do it. I said it in the open. Now it's time to go. Tonight, I'm the judge, or today I'm the judge. G is making the case that characters need to stick to who they were created to be, and Josiah is going to make the case for change. He's going to say, he's going to say what he says. So we're gonna let G start and with his opening case for staying traditional. G, either the floor is yours.
Man, where can I start? All right, this is going to be very interesting because I've been rehearsing. So here we go. There's a reason why tradition exists. Now, me being an old man here, I'm more of a traditionalist, especially in the sense of especially with the way how a lot of characters were established, like back in the day when I was watching a bunch of cartoons. I'll give good example. The Masters of the Universe Revelation series on Netflix. Now, myself has a bone to pick with Kevin Smith for the fact that you take one of the most traditional characters, one of my favorite characters growing up, and you don't even make him a main character in his own series. You make him a backdrop in the series. And that is just slightly very, very disrespectful, because you think Masters of the Universe, I'm thinking He-Man.
Yeah.
But when I watch this, the first episode, they kill off He-Man, and then they end up making Teela the main character of the series. I'm like, how come it couldn't be about Adam trying to get his powers back as He-Man, and it'd be Teela being the one to, sit over here and get his powers back for him, but at the same time throwing in the message and say that you're a man and magic has created more monsters and lies and all this blah 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 and ha ha ha, wherever the crap. But my thing is, there's nothing wrong with making change, but you don't have to crap on tradition just to make change. Like, newer characters and traditional characters can coexist. In my personal opinion, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but that's all how I look at it with the Netflix series Cobra Kai. It pays respect to the Karate Kid franchise without insulting all intelligence and without insulting the traditional characters. But at the same time, it's bringing in newer characters. So yeah, these writers need to figure out that yes, like old school and new school can coexist and learn from each other. One is not necessarily better than the other. A lot of these writers need to get their heads out their butts and just keep it the way it is. They need to. Same way with, like I said, about with Marvel. You got the Avengers that went through all this crap fighting Thanos and fighting all these bad guys. But take Hawkeye, for example. Hawkeye, gone deaf. He's gone DEAF deaf from fighting alongside the Avengers. And then this new girl shows up, takes his ninja costume and says, here's some arrows. This is what Tony Stark gave me. And then when it comes to fighting Kingpin, she outsmarts the Kingpin because she's a little 16-year-old, 90-pound girl. While Punisher and Daredevil got the crap kicked out of them by this 7-foot-tall dude. Come on, man.
Gee, that was a great.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say that's a great opening argument. Let's let Josiah get in his opening argument, and then we'll come back to you for for some more of your I don't know.
I'm not done. Josiah, you got it, bro. Go ahead.
All right. It's time for your opening argument, good sir.
All right. Starting off, I wasn't expecting G to actually getting a passionate tirade here in the opening segment, but that's
love it.
Good. I like arguing with passion. It's a good start to the day. Basically, I'm here arguing straightforward, straight facts. Change is good. Change is always going to be good. Sometimes tradition is wonderful, but there comes a time when tradition's outdated and changes need to be made in order to take that next step forward into the future, take that next step to a whole new world, if you will, to pay homage to the legendary. Yeah, Oz, what's
up? I know this isn't a part of your opening argument, but when you talk about time, I think enough is enough and it's time for a change. I'm not a nugget.
Rest in peace, Owen Hart.
Amen.
That's what I'm talking about. Like I did a little Aladdin nod there with a whole new world to pay respect to the tradition that is old school Disney movies. But there comes a time when things are outdated. Things are just because they're rooted in tradition doesn't mean we should continue following it. And that's basically the argument I'll be making, and we'll have a little back and forth about it. But that's just the easy end, just to get
that is your open argument. I'm with you, brother. G, you are back up. Tell me all about why we should stick to the foundation that has been laid down.
Point blank and simple. It's called a blueprint. That doesn't mean copy and paste like you would do a research paper in high school.
Wow.
Dude, you're going with all the lines.
Think. Hold on. Think about this. The Terminator franchise. I only recognize Terminator 1 and 2 as the only legitimate Terminator films, because when you look at every Terminator film after that, they're pretty much the same movie. They start the same. The protector and the killer, you know what I'm saying, come in the same way. They meet their target. It leads into a high-speed chase. Then there's time for exposition and dialogue. Then there's a side mission. Then there's more car chasing. Then it's time to catch your breath. Then it's time for more car chasing. And then it all ends in a factory.
Stop. I hate to interrupt you, but there is a Terminator film that is unlike all the others. That is Terminator 4. That is Terminator Salvation. It takes a chance. It does what I think should be done, and it went to the future. It said, this is John Connor. He's leading the resistance. And it shows John Connor sending his father, Kyle Reese, back in time so that he can exist. And it was a movie that had balls. It was a movie that both fit with what was told and started a whole new thing. But what it did was it lost money, and they got scared. And they went to a new formula. And I apologize, G, but I believe your Terminator thing is working against you. Because when they went back to formula, it meant repeat the same movie over and over and badly each time. So,
your honor, man. Say something.
Oh, my argument there, so thanks, Oz.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm trying to be fair.
Okay, I got you. But Your Honor, may I say something?
You're back up, brother.
I understand that Christian Bale was John Connor, but don't you be Bat Connor? I'm just saying. I'm sorry, don't you be Bat Connor, Your Honor? Is that what you mean?
I will accept that. I will accept that from the record.
Basically the same way. Tell me where you hide the Terminators. Where are they? The future's I'm just saying. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right.
You know.
All right.
I'll take
So,
that.
with that being said, Josiah, you're up to bat with your defense of change.
Got it. So in preparation for this, I did a lot of research on things that were a good example of change, stuff that were like, okay, you see how this is different, see how this is an improvement. And time and time again, over my research and Oz knows, I always came back to The Boys. Now, have you seen The Boys? And a real dark sense of humor like I do, you love them. Now, I've had the privilege of being able to read the comics and watch the show. So I read the comics before I watched the show. And the comic boys and the show boys, while both great, both excellent mediums in their own right, hugely different, vastly different experiences. With the comic boys, there are a lot of characters that were pretty much typical of whatever you see, which is white males. Pretty much, it's the easiest thing to do. It's always the easiest go-to. It's basically the status quo for most.
Stormfront is an example of that.
Right, and I was just about to get into that. So with the show The Boys, you see them do a lot of gender switches. You see them do a lot of stuff like that. So like I said, Stormfront is probably the best and most highlighted example, probably the most drastic change that they made with the whole gender swap situation. Another really one is Stillwell. Stillwell, typical white male in the comics. In the show, they had a different role for her.
It was her in the show, and that role was it was very important.
Yeah, but it was a role that showed a different side of Homelander, gave us a different idea of what this show's Homelander is like, as opposed to the Homelander that's in the comics. Now, you can look at both Homelanders, compare a lot of things about them, but and for the most part, the Homelanders are exactly the same. What makes them diverse and what makes them real different is how they interact with the characters in their respective shows. Now, Homelander in the comics doesn't really give a F about anybody, but the Homelander in the show gives a F about everyone. He cares about what people thinks about him. He's very reliant and very reluctant to do anything if he, well, at least in the first season, if he felt like it would get on Stillwell's bad side or make a problem. Yeah, go ahead.
Have both of you guys finished season 3?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I got
okay.
you.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yep. And that was actually where I was about to get into my third point with Vic the Beat. Now, Vic the Beat in the comic, useless. Absolutely useless. Basically an uninterested character. He's basically a politician in every sense of the word. He's a dumbass that just happens to be a politician. However, Vic the Veep in the show, who is, I believe, like Victoria Newman, but everyone in the show knows Head Popper. Now, that is a diverse character. She's interesting. She stands out. And more interesting than anything, she's not a white male. She's, no offense to you, Oz, but...
well, I'm not personally offended by that idea, but I don't think that her race is necessarily what makes her stand out. No, it does make her look different on screen, but what I mean is, well, I think if the character was anyone who executes well, which is what the actress does, it would be good, is all I was getting. I don't think her color is what makes her stand out. I think it's the execution by the actor.
It's not the race thing and the male thing. It's that you see everyone is the exact, like, there's no difference, there's no changes. And that's typical tradition is everyone kind of looks the same to a degree. So seeing
I think does a stellar job is all I'm getting at.
Gender or look helps with changing the perspective of the, because who you thought the character was you would have. First of all, you wouldn't have known who it was until like you made that comparison. So
Right.
seeing her and then going, oh wait, that's this character. Okay, what are they going to do? Like you automatically think something different's going to happen because they look different.
Right.
Which, in the boys' case, is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's why I think sometimes it's okay for tradition to be shook up. Sometimes
For sure.
Going the straight and narrow, going by the blueprint isn't always the best thing because sometimes the blueprint's wrong or sometimes the blueprint can be improved on.
So, in the idea of improving on, I don't know if you prep for this, G, but I'm going to pitch it up to you and see how you feel. I think a franchise that has lasted for 30 years, that has done a pretty good job of sticking with their foundation, but also building upon it, is Power Rangers. So they often do callbacks to the original series while continually elevating the current cast of characters. And so, again, I don't know that you've actually thought of that, but I think that it fits within your wheelhouse. Actually, I think it fits within both you guys' wheelhouse, to be honest.
About
Like,
arguments for both, with just Power Rangers,
yeah, I don't know.
1,000 Power Rangers at this point. Is it still going?
It is.
It's in potential last iteration of the adapting Super Saiyan stuff.
Gotcha.
It's supposed to it's supposed to reboot everything, and it's supposed to. Hasbro and Netflix got some deal going on to where they're going to do like a season 30. That's going to be a callback to like everything from Mighty Morphin to now, and they're going to like supposedly reboot and reset.
Most of those actors aren't even alive. Well, a lot of them aren't.
Only one of the originals is deceased.
Yeah, the Trinity,
right?
What'd you say?
Trinity. Yeah, Trinity. Tweet Trinity. Yep. Yeah. The actor that played as Ernie, he passed away too.
Yeah.
Not that. Yeah.
Somebody else. But yeah, and a few of them aren't alive.
Udana from Mystic Force, she passed away.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, G, you're up if you've got an argument to make. For anything, the floor is yours.
Huh?
I just said if you wanna go up, the floor is yours.
I mean,
but if you feel comfortable, it can be my turn to go.
I mean, no, I'm cool. I mean, my thing is, again, I see from Josiah's point of view of like, saying like moving forward, and yes. I agree. You know what I'm saying? Same way. I remember what you had said about WrestleMania Night 1 in the video that you're talking about moving forward. Now, in my defense about tradition being tradition, there's still a way to respect tradition. There's still a way to respect it. And nothing wrong with moving forward, but I also feel like, go ahead.
1 second. So for anybody who doesn't know what G's referring to, earlier in the year, I was reviewing WrestleMania. Night 1's main event had a 57-year-old, 19-year retired wrestler in the main event. And within said video, I said
that old back then.
What'd you say?
I didn't know Hogan was that old back then.
Oh my God.
57 years old. Been out of the business 19 years, main evented Night 1 of WrestleMania, and then participated in Night 2. In my review, I stated how that it didn't do for me what I had seen it done for many people because my drug of choice is hope. I hope for success. I hope for things to be elevated. I hope for things to change. And many people who were happy were getting high on the drug of nostalgia. And so just so that anybody who didn't watch that knows what G is referring to when he talks about my prior review of WrestleMania earlier in the year, that is what was being talked about. So back to you.
But yeah, my thing is, you don't necessarily have to, copy from tradition, but like I said earlier, at least respect tradition. And if you want to like do your own thing, that do your own thing, that's cool. But to go back to what I was saying earlier, don't just copy and paste from a past idea. Like branch off, do your own thing.
Yep.
In other words, if it's tradition, learn from it, but also let the past stay in the past and don't disrespect it. It's basically my thing. Again, I've seen this time and time again where there's just a lot of medium that just needs to just stay buried. One of those being the Star Wars franchise. Say again, Josiah?
Like Fast and Furious.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. I look, dude. Okay.
Paul Walker died, in my opinion. That movie was actually.
I was so shocked that they didn't let his character pass. I was watching it, and they had that big cliff scene, and I was like, "Oh, this is the moment," and it wasn't.
Right. And then
he's always the periphery of the movies. He's never there, but he's there.
Yeah.
Right. He's retired. Okay.
A show in a franchise where they retire after every movie, and then that thing.
Right. He's just no disrespect to Paul Walker, but his character is just a ghost in the background. It's like, well, he's there. He's there. So let's just send the kids to him. They'll be all right. The bad guys are not going to just blow up his house and take the kids. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Awful bad guys, sir. They're very considerate.
Very considerate.
Yes, I know. A universe where they jump cars off of cliffs and onto planes, and we're gonna be considerate. Hey, we're going after Dominic Toretto. Let's be considerate here. Let's leave him alone.
I'm gonna be considerate for a guy who can catch cars in midair and.
I'm gonna flex and break my cast off.
Jesus.
Hey, hold on. Hey, no, I got one for you. Yeah, let's be considerate in Hobbs and Shaw and just crank up the Rock to Superman levels of 9,000. He said him holding the truck with one hand and holding with the other hand.
This plane and this moving truck.
Yeah, he just wrapped it I'm like, I have problems tying my shoes when I got butter on my fingers, and he just wrapped a chain around a truck like this. Like, bro, come on.
What you mean? This is the Rock we're talking about, man. This man's more traditional. He's got the Samoan tattoos. He's holding it down.
Well, yeah, that's a good example.
Letting them go.
Yeah.
All right. So, we've gone for a while. I'm gonna let Josiah do a closing argument for change. I'm gonna let G do a closing argument for tradition. And when you guys are done with your closing arguments, I will decide, Judge Oz, who won this episode of Comic Court. Josiah, give me your closing argument.
All right, my closing argument is this. While I do agree with G in the sense of, yes, it's good to respect tradition, it's also good to know what tradition needs to be left behind and go to the next step, go to the next evolution as humans, if you will. We're a species that continues to grow and develop, and I believe that our mediums and anything else that represents us should do the same. That's all I got.
G, closing argument.
My closing argument is that we could keep tradition alive, but at the same time, whatever made it traditional, don't try to add into it or take away from it and disrespect it. And if you can't learn from that, then you shouldn't just even mention tradition at all. Let it be for people like myself that really hold tradition near and dear, not just butchering it. At the past, let the past stay in the past. If nobody can respect that, then they have no business calling themselves writers or content creators or calling themselves artistes. That's my closing argument.
All right. I believe both of you guys did a fine job. I see merits on both sides. I do see where you're coming from, Josiah, with the modernization of The Boys, especially. G, I see a lot of your points as well, especially with wanting to keep things pristine, if you will, like untouched. And I'm gonna apologize, Josiah. You never had a chance. And the reason is I'm selfish. And I can't imagine a world where somebody takes what I took years creating and then change it. And so I'm going to stick with the idea that if you choose to adapt somebody else's original property, that you ought not to change it, and that if you want to update things, you should do creator-owned work. Which, hey, look at that. I had an idea. I wanted to do something, and I did creator-owned work. There is a link in the description for limited first printing, still available at Etsy.com. Like I said, you did make a very good argument, Josiah, and I can't say that you're wrong, but I gotta say that I'm selfish. G didn't pay me, but the judge was bought off.
Yeah, clearly. It's all good. It's all good. I feel
Man, I'm broke as a joke right now. What you mean you were bought off? He's dead. Know what? I'm gonna behave. I'm gonna behave. What I want to say, I'm gonna behave. But no, I didn't buy nobody off. I'm broke as a joke. Hey, you see what I had to use in the studio, don't you?
It was gonna take a hell of a hell of a hill to climb to get me over the hump, just because for the same reason that I personally am anti-pirating. Like, people can do it if they choose. Like, I'm nobody's daddy, but like, I personally won't do it because I don't want somebody to take my intellectual property. I won't do that to someone else. And so it's the same basic premise that I use for this, which is, if you put your time, your effort, your skills, and all of it into creating something that you care about, I just think it's not much to ask of somebody who is using your thing to keep it the way that you saw it to begin with. Right. That's all. And that's why I said I can't argue with Josiah, but it was just I couldn't
in good conscience
also.
Hey, Josiah. Hey, man, but you did bring some very good points though. Like you did bring some very good points. I'll give you that, dude. I mean, this is a good debate. You did bring it. Hey, you want to do your own, people like.
And I appreciate both of you guys for being. I really do. You guys are big help.
Yeah. Because to be fair to G, I totally agree with most of what he said, especially with the He-Man example. Because I hate like wait, time out. So this is Masters of the Universe, but you killed He-Man? What? Yeah, so once you said that, I'm like, yeah, I can't really argue with that. That as you can see, I avoided the topic altogether because I'm for it.
That's what me and David did in our video too. It was like, oh crap, I can't talk about that because I agree with you.
and everybody can use the power of Grayskull now, other than He-Man.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Right, that's what I meant by tradition as well, bro. Like, really?
Absolutely. And
this should never touch, and that for sure was one of them.
Yeah.
And again, I want to thank you guys for being here. It's been a roller coaster week. Close friend had family tragedy, and I just didn't think I had it in me to fight it out. That's why I had both of you guys do it. And it was so much fun listening to your thought processes. And next week on the channel, it'll be a triple shot for SummerSlam. We'll talk about what we think will happen, what we want to happen, and a wild card pick for the biggest party of the summer in Nashville, Tennessee.
So what's on there, like 2 matches right now?
Well, they currently have tag titles, US title,
Universal title,
top belt.
Yeah,
Riddle and Rollins is booked.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Match
to play with. Oh, Ronda and Liv is pre-booked too. So we got 5 matches right now.
Liv is going to lose the title already, isn't she?
I don't know, man. They've been saying she's getting a lot of hot reactions in the live events. So
exactly. So that means they're going to take the title off her.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
If she was getting booed out the building, they probably would have left it.
Well,
She's too popular. Good.
Yeah. Well, also consider the fact that she's not the ideal, like that Vince McMahon likes. So, I'm sorry, I can't mention him anymore. He's in trouble. My bad. I'm sorry.
They say she's an attractive blonde. That's Vince's type.
I was gonna say, yeah, Kelly, Tori Wilson,
Trish.
Trish for sure. Trish, yeah. Stacy, I swear, on air.
Gable.
Yeah.
You say Chad Gable? You said Sable, not Chad Gable.
I definitely said Sable.
That makes way more sense.
Like, whoa, what's Chad Gable? No.
Definitely not.
Shush.
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 Dude, I wish you liked Chad Gable. That man should have 5 world championships by now.
Oh my God, you ain't never lied.
Man.
All right, boys. It was a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
No problem,
like I said, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for helping the channel grow here lately. Like the video, comment below with who you think won. I know that I wasn't fair this week, so tell us who you think won in the comments. Share it with your friends. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.